Ludo, where is she? Oh, there you are. What are you doing? You're trying to sort them. Aren't they all basically the same? Oh, alright, okay, let's take a look at these. To be honest, From Software's healing systems are extremely similar, but each game has tackled them in a slightly different way that has had drastic effects on how each game flows. So, you know what? Let's do it. Let's rank all of From Software's healing systems. Welcome to Design Boy. So we've never really done a ranking episode before. How are we going to tackle this? It's not like we have a massive ranking board down here or anything. You've built one? Yeah, right, come on. You don't even have thumbs, Ludo. Oh, well, that's convenient. Alright, let's get some criteria sorted then. How are we going to rank these? Based on usage, upgradability, speed, taste, how they feel in the hand? All of the above. Okay, so to begin with, it's kind of a necessity for us to pay our respects to the OG Sunny D, Estus from Dark Souls 1. As relentlessly regurgitated as this type of healing system is today, having 5 items that replenished on rest or death was a huge change over the common regenerative systems and floating health packs seen in most action games in the past, and this had a huge impact on the game's level design and player mindset. Having a consistent but finite amount of health items gives weight to every single mistake the player makes. Everyone waxes about how punishing Dark Souls is and attributes that to its bonfire respawning system for the player and its enemies and their erratic attacks, but I believe the entire experience would be nothing without Estus. Just think about how trivial the entire experience would be if it was replaced with a regenerative health system. The tension, mechanical fear and elation of finally overcoming the world's hardships would be gone, being able to simply just wait these enemies out. Estus is responsible for so much of what this game is known for and is a stunning design choice, but Ludo, get down, we're nowhere near done. Because just like with the finite nature of their uses, the amount we can do with this system is also finite. Yes, you can upgrade the strength of them, but to do so, you have to collect Firekeeper souls, and in some cases, having to kill to obtain them, removing NPCs and also destroying certain bonfires in the process, and negative for some, a positive narrative-driven world-changing event in exchange for power for others. But something that drags all of this down is these blooming bonfires. Alright, let's say you're struggling and need more Estus. The only way to do so is by kindling a bonfire with humanity, which increases your total amount from 5 to 10, which is simple enough, but I just don't like this. Upgrading your Estus by killing Inferno wenches encourages exploration, but kindling a bonfire requires you to give up humanity resources. Narratively, this is beautiful, but mechanically, regressive. For example, what's the internet's main advice for struggling players? Farm baby rats to harvest what little humanity they have left. No offense, mate.
None taken.
Future iterations solve this issue in different ways, but unfortunately, it's gonna cause me to bumpy roost it down a tier. Right, so what's next, Lids? Huh, Dark Souls 2, eh? The ugly stepchild of the franchise, but to be fair to it, it's improved on its predecessor in many ways, mechanically at least. One area they've improved is how we upgrade these flasks. They've introduced Estus shards to increase the amount you can carry and bone dust to upgrade their potency. Yeah, I agree, like while taking a narrative dip in quality, like what are you doing, just putting shards of glass and ashes into a cocktail to make it through the day's hardships? But mechanically, this is vastly superior to humanity. If you're struggling, instead of finding unwilling female flame-keeping sacrifices or turbo-dunking rat babies, you're actually encouraged to delve into previously unexplored areas that the player may have missed, leading to more souls, more items, more narrative hooks, and more gameplay, rather than just mindlessly farming. This is vastly superior, in theory, because they completely fucked it up with life gems, didn't they? Alongside normal Estus charges, life gems can provide a heal over time effect that can be bought practically infinitely from this hag, and you can pop them like a diabetic on Skittles whenever you want, which just trivializes the entire healing experience. And to make things worse, because of these gems, areas are balanced on the assumption that the player will use them, so if you don't realize this, it can cause each area to feel extra punishing. Relentless enemies that chip away at your health, areas with forced fall damage to progress, and because of this, it encourages players to seek out these life gems and their spammage, taking away from the beauty of the newly formed Estus upgrade system, so because of that, chuck it in B tier, Ludo. Oh god. Right, now to continue in chronological order, next up is Bloodborne and Blood Vials. Now, let me preface this, I love Bloodborne. Yep, starting off strong. Every inch of it drips with superb design decisions, from its rally system, trick weapons to its level design, but I have a massive, gargantuan issue with blood vials. You can carry up to 20 of them at once, and they heal quickly and efficiently, but once you use them, they're gone forever, either having to spend a resource that you lose on death to buy more, or hopefully farm more off of enemies. And the problem with all of this is that it's a reinforcement loop. Reinforcement loops are where a system will take the input and double down on it. If you're winning, a reinforcement loop will make it easier for you to succeed, but if you're losing, it will increase your chances of failing. Consider any healing item you have a counter for how many mistakes you can make during combat. For any previous system on death, you have the same amount of healing items and even the chance to obtain more by engaging with new content. But here, the system punishes its most vulnerable players by making them have less chances to make these mistakes on each subsequent attempt. Now let's look at the game's solutions for this. Buy more or farm more. Now from a designer's perspective, fuck both of these. Just buy more. Well, if you've completely run out, that means you've just died. And remind me, Ludo, what happens when you die? Yeah, that's right, you drop all of your souls. So how the fuck are you going to buy more? Trudge back into the depths attempting to find the souls you dropped, but now with 0 healing items? Or pop a soul Capri-Sun or just go farm more? Oh yeah, farming. Let's not encourage our players to engage with previously unexplored areas. Let's encourage them to farm the same enemies that are guaranteed to drop vials over and over and over again, not learning how to play or fight the enemies they've just struggled against, but find the path of least resistance as this system encourages. The only people I ever see praising this system are the get good players, and why is that? Because this is a reinforcement loop. It actively helps the people who are already succeeding and punishes the struggling players. If you get excess files above 20, they kindly automatically go into your storage, practically giving succeeding players infinite healing items akin to life gems, but giving its even moderately struggling players practically none unless they are willing to farm souls or vials. I can't. This system breaks all the progress they had made. Yeah, exactly. Let me translate.
There is no pit deep enough to house the beast of loathing I restrain for thee. Begone, vile creature, to the swamps with you!
There you go. It's like watching the devs take 2 steps forward and 1 step back from Dark Souls 2, but the guy they got to take those steps had fucking giraffe legs because it took them all the way back to Demon Souls. Oh yeah, as a cheeky bonus because it does not bear repeating, Demon Souls did this exact kind of filth. So here you go, a friend to contemplate sins with. Right, what's next? Well, this is refreshing. In stark contrast to the regression of Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3 is where everything comes together. They learnt from their experimentation, taken what works and iterated on what didn't. They've taken the beauty of the Shard and Bone Dust upgrades from Dark Souls 2, but completely removed any kind of reinforcement loop resource such as life gems. Because of this, the level design really encourages its players to seek out these major rewards through its balance of difficulty and non-linearity, and it's so effective they've incorporated it into the entire magic system too, being able to choose if you want more power or safety, both choices increased by the hunt for the same upgrade items. This is outstanding. It's no question S tier. I honestly don't see much more room to improve on this, but From Software did. Because in Sekiro, instead of prayer beads and gourd upgrades being strewn across the ground waiting to be found, they gate the majority of them behind mini-bosses. Now this is a small change with massive implications. Once one of these upgrades drops, the excitement you then feel when you spot another mini-boss gives drive to defeat them rather than avoid them. Yeah, you're right, this needed to be done because of Sekiro's lack of normal extrinsic rewards from previous bosses like weapons and armor, but it's crazy to see how making a tiny change to where a healing upgrade is obtained can have drastic impact on how a player views and engages with the game as a whole. But as good as this is, I'm gonna have to put it in A tier because the linearity of Sekiro takes away from the exploration aspect tied to improving healing in other ways. God, if only there was another game that combined everything that worked from all of these systems in a wide enough open world to truly give it space to shine. So Elden Ring slaps. It takes what works with the previous upgrade systems and instead of having them in random locations, which would be an absolute nightmare in a world as large as this, instead places them at targeted locations to encourage targeted exploration. You spot a church shrouded in mist? that's an upgrade. You spy a sliver of an Erdtree sprout, that's an upgrade. And it doesn't stop there. From the mage towers to specific mini-bosses, each recurring spot upgrades the player healing, magical, flash systems, and on top of all of that, because the devs know these targeted points of interest are desirable, they're always strategically situated right next to the new narrative or gameplay hooks, constantly driving its player to more compelling gameplay as they upgrade their power throughout the game. But feels completely player-driven because of this open world. It's fucking perfect. It's S tier for sure. Look what we have wrought. You know what, Ludo? It's actually crazy to see how all of these small changes to a healing system can have such a drastic effect on how the player perceives and engages with a game's systems and world. But if we've learned anything, it's that any system in a game, from healing to combat, should be designed in a way to encourage the players to keep engaging with the game. Not regress like with Blood Veils, but to get back in there and overcome the challenge. See more, do more. Something can be challenging, but simultaneously not encourage its players to give up, and it's been so entertaining to take a look back and see how From Software have iterated to reach a system that perfected that. But what do you think? What systems do you feel best fits narratively, and which one best fits mechanically? Let us know down below, because we would love to discuss this with you. Alright. Oh yeah, me and Ludo are looking to do a bit more collaborating, so if you're interested in working on something together, hit us up on Twitter. Oh, and while you're at it, dedicated viewers, yeah you, I know you're one of them because you're still watching the bloody video, come follow us on Twitter too, because if you do, you'll get to see stuff like this. Yeah, that's real life Ludo. Alright, cartoon Ludo, say goodbye. Alright, bye guys.
This video is sponsored by Let Bygones Be Bygones, the atmospheric future noir thriller launching on April 30th. Channel your inner Blade Runner and solve one last case in this stylish, choice-driven RPG. Create a unique story as you forge your own path through the dystopian city planet Terra Hive. Will you use logic to deduce the facts? Connect with people on an emotional level, or just pull out your gun and cause a bit of chaos. There are no wrong choices here, only the consequences of your actions. Just like that time you watched Finding Nemo and decided that it would be a great idea to put a saltwater fish tank in your studio apartment. Now you're not getting your deposit or that axolotl back. Let Bygones Be Bygones launches on April 30th, so head on over to the Steam page to wishlist the game and get your hands on the demo now.